Alrighty. Well, I think in the interest of our volunteers' time especially, we want to go ahead and get started so that way we can cover all of our topics this evening. So for those of you who are just joining us, welcome to this evening's meeting. This is the Product Sales Advisory Committee meeting for 2022 and looking into 2023. With me tonight, I have our Chief Operating Officer, Kelly Day. She is joining us on the call. We also have Reggie Mahoney, our ABC Bakers representative, joining with us. And so I didn't know if either of you wanted to say hello to the group.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So thank you for joining us for the Product Sales Advisory Committee meeting. I think a big part of our goal tonight is to discuss our recognition program, and Emma's going to go through some highlights, but I thank you for your time and your interest in the cookie program, because it is, I always say, it's the largest girl-driven and girl-run business program that we have, and it is a very it's the one time of the year where almost all of our girls are involved in something all together. So again, thank you, because they cannot do it without the leadership of the volunteers like yourselves. So we're excited to talk tonight about what we have in store for next year.
Thanks, Kelly. Reggie, did you want to say anything to the group?
No, just thank them for their time, and it's great to be back, and look forward to a great 2023. It's hard to believe, but saying 2023, but yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of great things, and thank you for your time and your efforts that you do and you provide for the girls and for the volunteers. That's how, how we survive in Girl Scouting, is through your volunteers. You're the gatekeepers, and without you, we couldn't do this. So thank you very much, and appreciate your efforts. And I know the girls do, but they may not tell you now, but someday down the road, they might tell you that what you did for them made a big difference in their life. So thank you again, and look forward to hopefully seeing some of you down the road sometime here, instead of through the screen. But in a room and being able to talk. So thank you again.
Absolutely. And thank you, Reggie. And both Kelly and Reggie, as we're going through this evening, if you have anything that you want to share with the group, feel free to just jump in and share whatever you need to as we're going along. So just to echo what both Kelly and Reggie said, I do want to thank you for taking time. I know summer is a busy time for you guys, and it's maybe the one moment where you don't have to be thinking about fall product or cookies or anything like that. But it is very helpful that you're willing to take summer evening to meet with us so we can start planning for 2023. So before we get to 2023, we do want to about 2022. I know that it was not the smoothest of years, and it was really just the perfect storm of, coming a lockdown and a quarantine and trying to, just get and so I know, especially with some of our delivery issues and things, that it was not the smoothest season, but again, because of you and our all smooth as possible for our girls. And I think really they and that's the most important thing. So as we get started, off of video, I just got a notification my internet's a little unstable, and so that should help if you would like. And otherwise, those of you who are volunteers on the call tonight, please ask questions, give feedback. This is really meant to be a conversation, more your thoughts and feelings as we move along. Just reviewing the 2022 cookie program, we sold a total of 99,000. And that is 43,652 of those cases were ordered on the initial order. And we are going to actually hit on the initial order a little bit later in this meeting as well, but we definitely want to see that initial order become a little bit stronger, because that will absolutely help us in deliveries and restocks down the road then. We did donate a total of 1,320 cases to Operation Cookie Share. So that went to first responders and military throughout the country. We had a total of 567 troops participate in the 2022 program, and 4,694 girls participated. Of those girls, 3,278 of those girls participated in some sort of online sale, which is almost 70% of our girls. So that's very telling that the online portion of the cookie program is still very vital, especially as, you know, that's become more of the new normal, is ordering online and then getting the cookies either shipped to you or delivered to you by a Girl Scout. And so that online portion is still very strong. Our digital sales, with that being said, our digital sales were down 16.7% from the previous year. So we sold a total of 6,169 cases in 2022, which was down from about 7,400 in 21. But that is honestly a good sign for the post-pandemic world. That means that our Girl Scouts are able to be out and about. They're able to be out in their communities. They're able to host cookie booths and go door to door. So as much as we like that online piece, it's also a good sign that things are, you know, whether it be a new normal, we're shifting back to more of an in-person sale as well, which we like. It gets girls interacting face to face with their customers. So we also, so with that being said, our in-person sales actually increased 17% from last year. So again, that's a good sign post-pandemic. So we sold 55,730 cases after the initial order in 2022. And in 21, we sold 47,583 after the initial order. So you can see that was a good increase. And again, that's a good sign that our girls are out and about and the community is ready to receive them out and about as well. We debuted the new cookie, the Adventureful cookie. It was a pretty tasty treat, although we did have some difficulty getting those into the hands of our girls and our customers. But that debuted at about 12% of our overall cookie council mix. And so that was a very, very strong debut for a brand new cookie. We did experience supply chain and delivery issues. We did try to keep you informed as much as possible, but we did also hear our volunteers want more communication. So that's absolutely something that we are looking forward to in 23, is making sure that our volunteers are apprised of everything that's going on, even if it's saying we have no update and that's the update, at least we're communicating with our volunteers and there's no question. So we definitely try to be as transparent as possible in 22, but with some of that, we didn't have the answers all the time. So people felt maybe we weren't communicating clearly. So that's definitely a point that we will be focusing on for 23. So there are a few ways that as a council, we can help to address these issues and make them less of a factor for the 23 sale. And so we will get to that a little bit later in tonight's meeting. But I wanted to see, you know, while we have a little bit of a moment, we won't take all night to hear the grievances about the 22 cookie program, but I also, as a strong core group of volunteers who do represent your regions, did any of you have any feedback or things of improvement or any items from the 22 cookie program that you might want to bring up? We can open it up for a few minutes to discuss those things if you would like.
I have a few things. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
I took notes during cookie season on my phone, so I pulled those up. Otherwise I'd probably not remember anything, but the three main things were girls need to be able to print orders that they need to fill, like especially for the initial order. I didn't see a way to do that in our system, and doing it digitally is a little tricky and not easy when filling orders.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else would agree with that.
Emma,
I
is
will.
there a
I'll
way
agree
they
with
can
it.
do that?
I'm honestly unsure if there is a way for volunteers to print from that screen. Reggie, do you happen to know that answer off the top of your head?
Is she talking about like girl delivery orders?
Yes, I believe so.
Jennifer?
Like girl delivery online orders to fill them. Is that correct, Jennifer?
Right. So the online or mostly the online orders, or even initial orders, not initial orders because that wouldn't make sense. But yeah, they're online orders specifically. Yeah, and then the ones they have on paper, they would have on paper. But sometimes you put them in. What happens is sometimes you put the order in when you don't have stock. So then you have to go back when you get your stock. Like some girls are filling orders only, once a week or something like that. And so they would need a way to be able to like print kind of like their, whatever's kind of outstanding that they need to fill. Like, does that make sense?
Yes, like any remaining orders that are outstanding, if they could just pull those up and print them. I do think that when a girl is in her manage orders screen, she can pull up the order, and then from there, it may not be a smart cookies command, but you could use the browser that she's in to view smart cookies, and you could print from that browser using, and then that would pull that order from there. That could be a way if there's not an easy print.
I think that there is a way to print that report as long as, like, I don't know, you're tracking it the way that you're supposed to. But I will say that smart cookies is not very user friendly, I think. They make it really hard to find anything and everything to print. That's just my 2 cents to add on to that one.
So
I think what we can
when
do is, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, as a leader, I don't know if I could do it for all of my girls, but if I flipped over to the parent side for my daughter, like from the computer, not from my phone, if I pulled it up in a browser, I was able to print a report. It just was a lot of clicks to get there. And I wish that I had it written down so I could tell you how I did it.
It is.
But I don't remember. But I know we can do it because I was traveling and my husband had to pull it up. So he does nothing with cookies except make sure they don't leave the house when they're not supposed to. So if he can do it, anybody can. Just as a lot of steps to do it.
Sure. There is a way to print a report as far as, and you can see from the print, from the manage orders grid for the girls, the parents can see the online orders, which are the direct shipped orders, which have already been shipped by us so that they don't have to do anything. But the girl delivery orders are the ones that I think that would be the ones that you would want to have to print out so that you know exactly what you need to tell the troops. Say, look, I've got these 15 customers that have already paid for their cookies online, but they want the girl to deliver them. So yes, you can print that report. We just need to give you some more training on how to do that. There is a couple steps. So we can show you how to do that. And you can take away, in other words, when you look at the manage order screen for the girls, you'll see all the orders, direct shipped, all of that. And you can sort by different orders too. You can sort by just girl delivered, and you can sort by online or direct shipped, as we call it. So we can do some training just to give you an idea of the steps on how to do that they can give to the troops. So there is a way to print that report.
Is there a way to add like a button or something? Like, because that would be really easy for parents to find.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Because it's not just us trying to find it. It's because I looked and I looked and looked and I could not find it. As a leader, could not find it. And for my own daughter, and I in her account, and as the leader, like I could not find it. So parents need to be able to print it, not just us, because we can't.
Sure. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can give you great screenshots on that and how to look and see what it looks like. But as far as going to manage order screen, and I mean, you could from the manage order screen, there's a little, it's tiny, so, but you can see it. It says print report. And you just click on that and it lists everything that's there. But the key thing would be to categorize that. In other words, you really don't need the direct shipped orders because we're shipping those. It's the girl delivery ones. And we can show you how to do that real quick, print it, and it's a nice report. It'll give totals. It actually gives each customer, but then it'll give a total by variety of what the girl needs to go back out and deliver those cookies.
So it gives each of their customer orders on that report?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, because that's what they need.
Yep.
And
It'll list
Jennifer,
it'll list the order that they put in. It'll list their address. It'll give an order number, and it'll give them the email address. I do believe that's for that customer too, as long as the customer has provided that information, which for a girl delivery order, they have to anyway. They have to provide their address and email address and everything.
and Jennifer, I've made a note to add a portion about how to print those reports for both troop leaders and for parents as well into our training for the 23 cookie program. So I have made that note. Did you have a couple other thoughts, Jennifer, still?
I do. We also need to be able to record trades with the warehouse, or whatever it's called. I have a newborn, so I can't remember anything right now. So whatever the
cookie cupboard
is called, the cookie cupboard. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So if we could record trades, like if those trades need to be recorded, it has made it very difficult to maintain the correct inventory, both for GSCI staff and troop leaders. It really kind of messes things up, and you just hope and pray at the end that it all balances out. So not being able to do trades is a big deal with the warehouse.
So,
I
so
agree
what you're
with the
saying,
recording.
Visually.
so you go back, let's say, Jennifer, give me an example of a warehouse. What warehouse do you go to?
The Quincy one.
Yeah.
So, say I need to trade a box of Thin Mints for or a case of Thin Mints for a case of Adventurefuls. How it works now, you just go, you take your case in, they give you your case, and it's just swapped. That's it. It's not recorded in the system. So I kind of feel like in reporting, like it's kind of hard to report what's, I guess for you guys are looking at like the cupboard, what they sold, which for what you see, it would be accurate. But for what we maintain as an inventory as troops, it's not accurate, because when we trade our cases or our boxes or whatever, it's not even in the system. So like, especially when it comes to the gluten-free one, I mean, it's just all kind of messed up. Like I can't even rely on the system because it's not accurate, other than the total number. That's all I can rely on in the system. It's just the total number of boxes we have sold or have on hand. The varieties, can't rely on it because of the trade issue and not being able to record that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think
So-
it would help all troops with initial orders too, if we had a better idea of exactly how many of each variety we sold, instead of trying to guess because of trade-ins and walk-ins.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it's just different in Decatur, like where we are, but I always, anytime I traded with the cupboard or anything like that, there was always like a transfer to your troop occurred, and there was a way in Smart Cookies. I want to say there was a way in Smart Cookies to transfer it from like your service unit. And I don't know if we just counted our service unit as our cupboard, or I don't know. I feel like I remember there being a way to trade with the service unit.
Well, it's in Smart Cookies, you have troop to cupboard and cupboard to troop transfers.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought those were in
And
there.
that's where you would record the trade.
Okay.
is the troop would trade let's say, for example, they're bringing back a case of peanut butter patties, and they're going to trade it for Adventurefuls. Depending on who is in charge of that cupboard, if it's at the warehouse, then that cupboard manager would do a troop to cupboard transfer, or you would do the troop to cupboard transfer, and then they would sign it, and then you would do a cupboard to troop transfers for the swap.
We can't
So-
do a troop to cupboard transfer.
Yeah, Reggie, we have that eliminated for them because we just, we know we're all Girl Scouts and we all are honest and fair, but just with that troop to cupboard transfer, we tend to disable that just so there's no, under the table kind of things going on that a troop leader's transferring things to the cupboard that we can't control.
Sure.
Which I don't blame you.
And I mean, I know we're all Girl Scouts and 99% of everyone is honest and fair, but we just, you always have that one person who might take advantage of it. And so that's where it's kind of a safeguard for us. But I can absolutely see where if you're trying to keep track of your variety inventory, you need that ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so couldn't the warehouse, whoever's in charge of that, be able to do that digitally?
We can talk about that. Emma, we can talk about that. Kelly, we can talk about that.
Yes, absolutely.
Smart Cookies is a permission-based system. And so we could give the cupboard manager that possibility to do that. We wouldn't give it to the troops. Okay.
Right.
And so that's something, Jennifer, that I can take back, and when I'm meeting with Kelly and our program team, we can possibly come up with a plan on how to attack that for 23. So I have a note on that as well for you.
Okay, awesome. And then I had one more other thing. I'm so sorry. I have my list. It's only 3, so that's not too bad. We need a place for each girl to place an order within their platform to their troop leader in order to relieve troop leaders from constant text messaging and order checking. It is so hard for leaders with large troops. If there was a way that a girl could place an order that comes to us leaders, that would be so much easier on the leader side of things for maintaining
I have a solution if to help out.
Yes, that would be great.
Just instead of smart. So this is only my second year. So my first year, like I called Emma bawling at one point because I was, just drowning. So I get the frustration. But I use Google Forms and Google Docs all of my parents have to submit all their cookie orders, and the girls have to submit cookie orders through Google Forms and Google Docs. I know it's just like one more thing to keep track of and download, but that's the easiest way I've found to do it.
And that does make sense, because then you're not having to worry about, did I send that text message? Did I do that?
Yeah. And it will combine it all into a spreadsheet for you.
And I will be doing that this coming cookie season.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just thinking that if you guys could do it in your system somehow and have it all kind of automatic
into one thing,
that would be great for us leaders. Because it would take so much work off of us. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Well,
But that's interesting, because I see what you're saying, Mike. And then if all you had to do was go in and approve those orders and then place that order on Sunday night, that would be a lot easier than having to work outside the system.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. That, Jennifer, that might not be something that ABC could tackle for the 23 season, because I know they're in the midst of getting the system ready for 23. But I know between Reggie and myself, we'll absolutely make sure that this feedback gets back to the developers. And I will also see from the council side what we can do to help alleviate some of that.
Awesome. Thank you.
I do appreciate your feedback.
So my question is that something in the M2 site that troops can do? Emma, do you know, with fall product?
No, it's very similar
It's
to
not?
cookies where the girls have to turn in their order card or, text it to their leader, and then the leader puts it in as a whole for.
Let the dog out.
Was there any, I don't want to kill the entire meeting with feedback from 22 cookies, but I do want to make sure that everyone else had a chance to share any feedback or any thoughts before we move along to looking at the future.
I have one little teeny thing.
Okay.
We had an issue with the caramel, with the gluten-free cookies. Whenever we were entering in the gluten-free cookies on paper order forms, we couldn't find a way to enter them into the smart cookie system. So the sales weren't showing for the girls, but the inventory was. There wasn't a place to put in the gluten-free cookies.
I think that's a setting that I can make sure is enabled for the 23 season within Smart Cookies. That should be a very simple fix. But cool. I will make sure. So as far as, because I know yes, I'm going to make a note of that gluten-free cookie for order cards.
Yay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Anybody else before we move along? This has been a really great discussion. And again, I appreciate you guys not all just screaming at us and telling us how horrible it was. But we do have things to address and figure out. And that's why we're meeting.
Hi, Emma. I had one thing. I apologize for my lateness to the meeting.
No problem.
I was pulling up my notes on my computer here. It's not a true, necessarily a, sorry.
No, you're okay.
Not necessarily a troop, but more of a, being the service unit to all of the, the troops that are there, is that, they were unable to see the cookie booths in the system until the day of scheduling those cookie booths. And so a lot of them were going back and forth with me on their initial orders because they didn't quite know what might necessarily be available or where they would be. And I know that, not to be, and I told them a lot not to always guarantee on council because, with the pandemic and everything, we're not sure where everything is, but you can always schedule your own, that we have Sam's Club and so on and so forth like that. And we have plenty of groceries around here, but a lot of them were wavering on that initial order. And then, as you know, we did have the one issue where there was one that wasn't going to pick up their initial order because they couldn't get a cookie booth because they didn't see it until the day of.
Yes.
And so I didn't know if it was possible. And I know you are working on cookie booths and they are coming in at all different times and whenever they get back to you. But if they could be put in as they get approved, so maybe they can at least see what might be available on the dates and the times so that they can make a little bit better of an initial order, because then some of them were like, okay, they knew they got a cookie booth, but oh my goodness, I got this cookie booth, I didn't know, so now I got to order a whole bunch more, or oh no, I didn't, these aren't where I normally are, and I got to figure out how to get rid of these, or hey, I don't think I'm coming to get my cookies at all, so I know that was kind of a new one for us this year on that aspect, but it all kind of worked out finally. That was kind of like the big thing that was going on a lot, that I was trying to, one of the cookie booths coming in type of thing, and I just kind of told them, what kind of is normally in there. Oreo's got a ton of other places to go to. You can make your own. But I think they were just kind of trying to hope to see what they might get prior to that initial order.
Absolutely. And I moved up my timeline for approaching the stores and things, because what we were up against was, as they were finally getting back to me, I was getting them in the system, but they were all dragging their feet till the very last moment, which then I understand they're not in Smart Cookies. So absolutely, I've moved that up. And so that way, then hopefully I will get answers sooner. And then that way, as soon as I get answers from them, we'll put them in. And as leaders are planning their initial order, they'll be able to see what booths are available.
Awesome. I think that would alleviate to some of that initial order confusion and, more promptness, and not scurrying for that first weekend, depending on what they may have gotten or what they could have scheduled. So I know we had a lot of scurrying going on at that point.
Yep, absolutely. That will be addressed for all of our regions for the upcoming year. We're going to just push that a little bit ahead of time so we can get our answers sooner and then get them in the system sooner.
Awesome. Thank you, Emma. That's all I
No
had.
problem. Thanks, Drew. Anybody else want to share any feedback?
Can Walmart be a council book and we've got to book it off of Smart Cookie? There was a lot of confusion and
unfortunately, it's not really a possibility just because Walmart and Sam's Club is part of our national agreement with them. They want to be in charge of the scheduling of them, which then necessitates that our leaders do have to contact directly their Walmarts. I do know, Heather, you're from the Springfield area. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I do know that in Springfield in particular, there was an issue with Walmart booths. Really, in the training, I plan to try to hit it a little bit harder of, you know, there are lots of troops, lots of Girl Scouts who want to be selling in your area. So, you know, let's be a sister to them and not book every single Walmart position that you can for all the cookie program, and your one troop kind of takes over. So definitely, I mean, unfortunately, since we can't handle the scheduling for Walmart, we can at least try to push the education side of things as much as possible to make sure that, you know, it's being addressed that we need to share these locations with everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great feedback. Okay, I think maybe I'm safe to move on. And again, as things come up in your, as we're talking about things, feel free to chime in and share. Again, this committee is extremely helpful for us to put all of this together. So I definitely appreciate your thoughts. So now we can take a big deep breath and let it out. And now we can focus on 2023 and making this the best cookie program that we possibly can. Let me just get the PowerPoint back here. So I am about to let you volunteers in on a little secret. And so we do need to keep it under wraps in this group only until mid-August. But I do have a fun announcement for you. We're going to have a new online cookie for the 23 cookie program called the Raspberry Rally. Now, I'm not sure, I can't see Reggie right now. Reggie, please don't be angry, but this is a trusted group of volunteers and they're not going to share this with anybody. So again, we're going to keep this quiet and keep it a secret. Then GSUSA will make a big national push and a national announcement on August 16th. This is going to be a little bit different. We don't have the Raspberry Rally on hand with us at booth. This cookie is going to be available for online only via direct ship. So our customers who order cookies online for direct ship will have this available. It is the first ever online only cookie. So we're kind of living in the middle of making history right now. And so if you think about this cookie is a similar concept to the way our fall product program runs. We have 16 nut or candy items that we offer on our order card. However, if a girl has an online customer that goes online, they can order all of the different items because they're ordering it to be shipped to them. So similarly, a customer will get an invitation from a girl for direct ship, they'll shop and they can add the Raspberry Rally cookie to their carts. So this will be the same cookie nationwide. Both bakers will be carrying Raspberry Rally, but both bakers will have it available online only. So as we get more details about that, I will absolutely share it with you. Then we're going to keep this a secret until August. So we just have about a month, and then we can share the good news and the excitement around this new cookie. We also have a variety name change. So this year, instead of the shortbread cookie, the cookie will be called the trefoil, just like the little brownie bakers. This was a decision by GSUSA to harmonize that iconic variety. And so that way, across the nation, the shortbread cookie is the trefoil. So it's the same recipe, just a new name, again, just to harmonize it. And this trefoil will be our troop training cookie for the year. What we'll offer, we usually offer 1 box of cookies to each troop during the training period. And the cookie this year will be the trefoil in celebration of the name change and alignment with the other baker as well. So that's something to, you know, we interchange the names as it is, but it'll be nice then it's the trefoil and everyone knows that, and it's a nice Girl Scout related name, and we're all familiar with that. This year too, there will be the same theme carried between both fall product and cookies. The Go Bright Ahead is the theme for the year. The 2022 Fall Product Program mascot is this Hawaiian monk seal you see on the left of your screen, kind of waving at you there. And then the 23 Cookie Program mascot is a dolphin. So the Go Bright Ahead theme will follow the girls throughout both programs, but they will have 2 different mascots, which means 2 different plush to collect and all that kind of stuff. So what's really cool this year is that both bakers are and both fall product companies, they're all carrying this Go Bright Ahead theme. So our girls have kind of a harmonized cookie program that way. And so it's kind of a cool concept. So you'll see Go Bright Ahead all throughout the rest of this program because we're really excited about this year's theme. So here are some of the things we want to get down to the nitty gritty with you. I'd like to brainstorm a possible initial order incentive idea. I'd also like to talk about the 23 cookie delivery plan with you just a little bit. Then we'll review our cookie reward levels, possibly look at adjusting a couple different levels, and then we'll choose the 2023 cookie reward. So those are kind of what we're looking at making the decisions tonight. So first, we're going to take a look at our initial order, and I kind of referenced this a little bit earlier, but ABC Bakers has already advised us that our councils can expect delivery to be similar to last year. So we can expect longer delivery times, the possibility of deliveries not being picked up by a driver. So we can expect those delays and other issues. There are also ways that we can try to set our council up for success without running into as many issues as we did last year. So what we're being told is that it could be 5 to 10 business days from the day that we place our restock or planned order with ABC, those cookies to distribute within our council. And so I think that in an order, again, we talked about the communication between council and troop leaders. I think we need to possibly look at changing, when we talk about planned orders, talking about the delivery window. As if you recall last year in cookie training, I know that was a long time ago and there's been a lot of chaos between that. But we in the past have said, if you place your order by Sunday evening, we will guarantee that your cookies will be to you by the following Thursday. We just know going into it that that's probably not going to be able to be fulfilled. If it does, then great, everybody's happy, the cookies are here early, but I also don't want to make that promise and then know that the cookies aren't going to be there in that time. So I didn't know if the committee had any suggestions as far as verbiage that we could use for training. I mean, if we told leaders that if you place an order on Sunday evening, you can expect it the following Monday. I mean, I don't know if that would cause what. I guess I'm just looking to the leaders to see what would not necessarily panic you, but also
in the calendar that we have that says like planned order, then have planned order is February 11th. Pickup is February 20th or something.
That could absolutely work because we do have our planned order date set. And so we could, Heather, that's a great idea because, you know, we give dates throughout the training. So if we talked about planned orders and say plan order number 1 is due February 5th, you can expect it then February 12th and so on. I think that would be a good option. And I mean, yes, sorry, Liz, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. That's fine. sorry, I'm also at a softball game. I wonder if it might, the first weekend of cookies is always crazy. We know that, going into it, but maybe if we could have the opportunity to place our first planned order that like right away. I'm not looking at the calendar, so I don't remember what we did this past year, but if we would have I had girls do small initial orders, then we had a booth, then we were out of cookies.
Right.
So if we could place a planned order that very first weekend,
and
that might be helpful.
Yes. So the way that our schedule is set up right now is that we have 6 planned orders. The first one is due that Sunday right after that first Friday of cookies. So that is good. I'm glad to hear then that is matching what you're looking for. I just worry that, in a training when I say, all right, if you order your cookies on February 5th and you'll get them 1 week later, we're going to have people rioting. And I don't know how we can circumvent that. I mean, we're trying to be as transparent as possible, but I also worry about what that's going to cause as far as, and that's why we're also on the next slide, we're going to talk about an initial order. And that's where we are really going to beef up our recommendation of place that initial order. So you have some sort of cookies, and then you're not just doing a walk-in order on the first day of cookies, you have some on hand. So I didn't know what kind of ideas or feedback. I do like Heather's idea of giving actual dates, and that way that gives us some flexibility, but was there any other feedback or ideas with that?
Emma, would we know as far as what the cupboards would be ordering ahead of time too? Because I think sometimes, I know as far as and the gluten cookie is a little different. And when it comes to, pushing this initial order, I think if we like you just said, we're gonna have to tell everybody, hey, even troops might be get some extra because it's going to be a week or so, to get this. I think if we even just say, hey, it's going to be a full week at least we can let the customers know you might want to have more on hand, or the troop might want to have more on hand. But I do know even knowing ahead of time what each cupboard might have on hand as well, to kind of let us know what we might be able to get, or at least let the troops know. Because I know when the initial order came in, and our cupboard got the gluten cookies, and they came in and people were trying to go, oh, I didn't get enough. It was gone before it really opened up, and it really let everybody know, hey, our cupboard's got it, and all the gluten cookies were gone. I know that's kind of we don't restock those, but maybe saying, hey, this is what your cupboard's going to start with. Knowing that, hey, you have X amount of troops going to go after this. So pad your initial order, but just kind of have an idea, this is what's going to be available. So they might say, okay, I am going to get a cookie booth. I know what I might be able to get my hands on, or, hey, I'm not going to be able to get anything extra, knowing my council is only going to have 200 cases of Thin Mints in the beginning order. I need to add more up ahead of time. So I think that might be, if possible, to say, hey, this might be what the quantities would be on hand, so we have an idea of what we can go back and forth with.
Absolutely. And that's a great suggestion, Drew. As we are planning, we do know what we're going to bring into each cupboard. And sometimes that changes a little bit based on when we take a look at each region's initial order, we may decide to bring in more or change that. But that could be a great idea, because we do usually have at least a ballpark idea of here's roughly how many of each variety will be available. And that could be good too. I think that's good. And so, I mean, really, what I'm hearing is as long as we're communicating with our volunteers and being upfront with them that, hey, it could be a full week, at the beginning of the sale before you get your cookies. Do you think that is sufficient enough as far as, making sure that our volunteers aren't freaking out, but also assuring them that we are working on it and we'll get the cookies as soon as we can?
I think it might also be helpful, especially for new leaders who haven't dealt with this before ever, let alone in a pandemic situation. If the council could come up with something we could say to parents that was all the same message. So my co-leader and I are always very willing to go to get more cookies and get more cookies as much as we are able to. And sometimes it feels not humanly possible, but if we had a statement we could give to parents that says, you know, when you're sending us an order, you know, by whatever our deadline is for the troop, make sure you're planning ahead a few days, and here's why.
Yes.
Instead of they send me a message and think I'm going and there's no cookies for me to go get.
Right. Absolutely. And that's where in the training portion, you know, we do a leader training, and then we also do a girl parent training. And that is one of the things between both of those trainings that we will hit very hard and make sure that our parents know you have to be communicating with your troop leaders, and just really pushing the fact that we have to all be working together to make this as smooth as possible.
I just want to add that I think it's a great idea to be able to see how many cookies that the cupboard has. However, that's only going to be effective if trades are in there. Because otherwise you won't be able to see varieties at all. Like it won't be accurate.
Right. And I think maybe we're looking at the cupboard more at the initial order part of the phase. So when leaders are planning their initial order, they can see the cupboard will start off with X amount of cookies. And then I think, you know, as we go along the sale, we all kind of know the swaps and things are happening, and absolutely we will try to address the swap issue like we discussed. At least if we could give leaders once the initial order is in, here's what your cupboards will have. I think that would at least give them a starting point when it comes to planning their daughter's order or their troop's order. Jennifer, you are right. It does play into then the swaps part of things as well, which I've started that a couple times now because I definitely want to see what we can do about that.
Cool.
So a strong initial order, as we know, is very crucial for a successful sale, and it's going to be even more important this year, like we've talked about, to make sure that troops do have cookies on hand for the sale starting, and to know that it could be another week or so before we get cookies to refill things. So if we do want to avoid complications similar to what we had this past year, we need troops to place their initial order. And that way they have cookies on hand. I think some troops just rely on, well, I know that starting that week that cookie delivery is happening, there are cookies in my local cupboard. I'm just going to go do a walk-in. As convenient as that is, it also cripples us from an inventory standpoint for future weeks. So if troops are placing their initial order, then that should hopefully offset a little bit of that excess pressure at the beginning of the sale on those cupboards. So we do already offer a troop bonus, as I'm sure most of you are aware. So a troop who orders 900 or more boxes on the initial order and maintains a per girl average of 180 boxes per girl gets a $100 troop bonus at the end of the program. I didn't know if, and I know Kelly and I had talked about if there was a way that we could incentivize the initial order even more than the troop bonus, or if there is some sort of something we could do from the volunteer standpoint to make placing an initial order, quote unquote, more worthwhile than it already is.
What if we offer passes to one of the events?
Okay, so like if your troop places a certain amount of an order, then you get a pass to a certain upcoming event or something?
Yeah, one of the council sponsored events that we have throughout the year.
Okay, that could be a possibility. I'm going to make a note of that here. Any other suggestions for other ideas? I mean, is the troop bonus enough? Is there something else we can do? I just want to make sure, because I know we talk about it every year and we say how important it is every year, and then still we have troops that don't place their initial order.
I don't know if necessarily we need to offer any more incentives. I think if we just say, hey, we all know how last year went.
Mm-hmm.
This year's going to be the same. You want cookies? I think we're just going to have to push it on all different angles and say, if you want your cookies, it's going to take at least a week. Put your initial order in, even if it's a couple of cases here or there. If you want cookies and you don't want to keep telling your customers, hey, it's going to be this, it's going to be this, you were knowing ahead of time at this point. I think that's the only way we're going to really push it. I think we're still going to have a couple people, troops out there that are going to just hopefully know, maybe they'll get it from the cupboard, but I don't know if it's, you know, yeah, I mean, the $100 is great. I mean, I know a lot of troops got it, or you know, sometimes they do, or, you know, and then you've got a lot of the new troop leaders, I think sometimes are, I'm not sure, because, oh, that's a lot. You know, I have 20 in one troop, and I know that I can hit it on that point because it's just what I need. But I think if we just kind of say, even if you don't get the $100, if you want cookies, you need cookies, this is the only way to get them in ahead of time. Because I think everybody felt last year, and I don't know, we're going to have a ton of new leaders, but I think the parents are going to understand a little bit more. The troop leaders are going to understand that just, you want cookies, we have to do it this way, put your initial order in. And then maybe it is just following up with, as we see them coming in, going to those troops and say, hey, maybe it is just calling them and say, are you sure you don't want any cookies? Because we can't guarantee you're not going to get any for 2 weeks. You know, you might not get it. And so it may just be, I don't know, say, you know, a couple of phone calls on our end or an email or so, just to double check with them everyone, you know, just to say before the deadline hits, what you need to do. And if it's, you know, one more thing on us, but it's one day, you know, I go out there and just send emails or make phone calls or text messages really fast and say, you didn't put one in, are you sure? But I think that might just be some more follow-up on our end, just to be like, we all know what last year looked like.
Absolutely.
If I could interject real quick, Drew, I think you've got it nailed on the head. It's communication. And that's what we're trying to do for you all right now, is to let the councils know that, you know, we were very fortunate in years past to be able to deliver within 3 days. The problem is now that warehouses don't, you know, you go all over the place and you see now hiring signs. They don't have the staff to be able to load the trucks. So that's what we're trying to let the councils know, that, hey, we'll get it to you as quickly as we can. But knowing the way that the distribution centers are and the way the trucking industry is right now, we want to make sure to let you know that this is the potential of what it could be down the road, you know, 5 to 10 business days. And like you say, the key thing is the initial order is really crucial at this point, is that if a troop knows that, you know, when I put my initial order in and the cookies delivered the week after that, I got a big booth, it'd be smarter just to have those up front and have them when they need them, rather than going to the cupboard that day or two before. Because like you say, it could be, the cupboard could be wiped by then. But, you know, we're going to talk about that with the council. We're going to look at it and see what we can do. But we just want to make sure we're trying to do our piece and communicate to you and say, yeah, it was awful last year for all of us. Believe me. I mean, I was to the point where I wasn't getting any answers, and it was frustrating. But we're trying to be upfront to let you know that, and we're asking councils for a better forecast, because we had councils that really lowballed on forecasts, just not letting us know, and then, you know, just really hammering us with restock orders. So we're trying to be real proactive with forecast and making sure that we have the cookies and we don't have to go back and bake them, which is what was part of the issue. Is the first week of planned orders, councils told us we're only going to need about 40,000 cases, and they put in an order of 140,000. So there's 100,000 cases we're scrambling for. So that's what we're trying to avoid, and trying to make sure that we can stay ahead of the game and produce. We can bake the cookies. It's, you know, we just want to make sure that we have them up front and available to avoid the big crisis that we had last year. So that's the purpose for really looking at an initial order, to have the cookies up front, and then as we go, you know, make sure that we can get them to you within 5 to 10 business days at that point. But here again, like I say, the communication is the biggest key, is to let everyone know this is how it's going to work and this is what we're going to do. And we want to make sure to be upfront with you all. So like I say, Drew, it's a great point, is communication is the key. That's for sure.
I have a question with that. Is it the troops they're not placing an initial order at all, or they're not placing a large enough initial order?
It's both, Jennifer. So So there are councils that, place an initial order and then they'll place, planned orders, covered orders like we do that you pick up each week. But on top of that, we do all this walk-in business too, which is great
Right.
because it generates sales and it helps girls reach their goals. And we want to be able to continue to do that. But what has happened is that some troops they just don't place an initial order and they do walk-ins. So we have people walking in ordering thousands of cases of cookies sometimes, and we're not prepared for that. I mean, we're prepared for some extra, and for the first week of those planned orders, we got backed up last year too, because then what happens too is some people don't place that first planned order, which is another crucial order. I mean, your initial order and your first planned order are really the key to having inventory and being successful. The last few years, we've been able, except for last year towards the middle, we got debacled with delivery issues and inventory. But before that, we were pretty much able to handle it because we were getting those cookies. As Emma said, we ordered on Monday. We have the cookies Wednesday or Thursday, always. I mean, always.
Yes.
And now with not having that, what I don't want to happen is we put this message out and then people are like, well, I'm just not even going to place that. We're just going to walk into the office. And I think back to Drew's point, which is really critical, is we have to communicate. We will have cookies, but we're not going to have enough cookies so that you don't have to place an initial order or a planned order and be able to walk into the office and get cookies. It just will not, it won't work if that's what happens. And so that was really like part of the thought process by how do we make sure we positively and make leaders feel like it's okay to place a strong initial order? And is there something else we need to do to encourage that or help that? I will share with this group, but I would ask again that, so there are going to be things that you're going to hear before anybody else's. And sometimes we talk about things, but for certain reasons we can't do it or it's budget impacting. One of the things that we're trying to work with our finance committee, our CFO right now is, can we move that first ACH payment a little bit later? So we have received some feedback from leaders that the reason they don't place a stronger initial order is because the ACH is due 2 weeks later. So that only gives them 2 weekends for their girls and to do booth sales to get that partial payment that's due. So if we can give them a third weekend, if at all possible, and it'll still work out with the council paying our bill to the cookie company on time, then we're trying to work that out to see if maybe that would help, that leaders might feel a little bit better if that ACH was yet another week later.
That was definitely a big holdup with my troop this year. Is we were worried we wouldn't have enough money for that first ACH if we did a big initial order.
Yeah.
So that would be awesome. If that could happen, that would be great. I mean, that would definitely make us feel a little bit better.
Right, because then the pressure's not so on.
Well, in the pre-ordering, which I forgot to mention, the pre-ordering in the last 2 years have helped with that. So when they're basically allowed to do, like, their customers can make the online orders before we ever even go live, the sale officially even starts. And that has helped with being able to know what to order.
Yes.
So, although it was a little stressful, it's been stressful with those pre-orders as far as, answering questions for customers and parents, because sometimes we're not ready to roll yet. And we're already getting orders. So that's been a little stressful, but that has helped.
And that will be the same this year as well. We will have that online portion open earlier than the direct sale portion. And so that should help as well, especially, again, one of the notes I received from volunteers is you need to tell us that, you know, we need to be looking at those orders and adding those into our initial order. And so again, that's going to be added to the training, or at least really emphasized in the training more so than anything. So
we might need to move up like sooner, which I really don't want to do, but if we're going to go live with online, we probably need our materials a little sooner.
Okay.
Because that was another problem I ran into that I didn't write down, is that the stuff that I needed to give parents before we went live, we didn't even have until the cupboard opened, which was a problem. Because I mean, they're taking orders anyway. I mean,
right.
So
I feel like you guys have given me some things to chew on here with Kelly, where we look at, you know, the passes to a GSCI event, or we just look at heavier communication. And really, you know, I do think we're going to be 100% transparent and just say, you know, gone are the days where you could order on Sunday night and get it on Thursday, and walk-in orders and things as well. So if we just beefed up the communication and, you know, like Kelly had mentioned as well, the possibility maybe of adjusting that first ACH date, is that enough, do you think, to help encourage troops?
Something that, I mean, I order for my initial order about half of what my troop sells, which is about 4,500 boxes.
Okay.
And I order the rest throughout the planned orders because I don't have any place to put 9,000 boxes.
Right. And that's a limiting factor as well, as storage and things like that. But again, at least placing some sort of, you know, 4,500, 5,000, you'll have some on hand, and then you'll know what's available at your cupboard, versus just not placing an initial order at all. So I do want to share with you as well, we had talked about at Cookie Rally in 23, I will be hosting a an initial order session. And so really, whether it's new troops or established troops, I will be offering several different sessions throughout Cookie Rally to sit down and talk about, here's how you estimate your initial order, here's how these pieces come to play. And so hopefully between that and some increased discussion and training, we'll be able to hit a bigger, safer initial order then. That sound like, well, Kelly and I will discuss and talk about the pros and cons of adding some sort of an incentive or just communicating, but I'm actually really encouraged by what you guys are telling me, that if we're just communicating, that is enough as well. So that's very encouraging.
And I would just pose the question to all of you, is 180 the right number for the troop bonus? So that was our goal several years ago, was to hit the 180. Our council per girl average is much higher than that now. So I just asked that question. Is that a comfortable number? Do we want to move that up? I would just like to get a little bit of feedback from all of you on that. It's been multiple years since we have moved that number.
So
If we're gonna
our
move it,
girls,
I think a nice round 200 wouldn't be a bad idea.
yeah.
Or even if we do one case per flavor for each of your girl and your troop. So I don't know what the math is on that, but I mean, that should be a very easy goal for any initial order.
Absolutely.
Is there any way, just throwing curiosity, we have, you know, I have two troops myself. I've got 20 in one and I've got 11 in the other. You know,
You're busy.
yes.
Thank you, Drew.
And you know, 180 for my 20, no problem. I mean, we're talking 3,600 boxes of cookies. we can get rid of that very quickly with that. Now I've got 12 in the other, and we're saying that is still a lot of cookies. Is there any way we might be able to balance that troop number wise with the number of girls are selling? Because again, I had 12, but I really only had 10 selling, and to do 10 selling for 180 for each one of those was a little bit more difficult to try to reach that goal on some of those. But then I knew for sure I just ordered all the cookies for my other troop because I knew that I had all 20 of them selling. So I didn't know if there was a way to say 180 for X amount of girls selling for this, or maybe lower it if you have a smaller troop, and maybe not necessarily $100 if you're going to lower it, just to kind of get that tiered maybe a little bit to even it out just a little bit.
So I have 11 girls and we're going into year 5, and I was very nervous every year except this year to do an initial order that high. But we kind of let the parents, of course, had input because they're just they're brownies, but the girls had input too. And they said, we think we can do it. And we ended up maybe with more than we needed, but because we were able to trade, it worked out. It did become a space issue though, because we got one room, there's one cookie room, and I didn't have a car big enough. So I don't know.
Okay.
But it worked out because we were able to trade. Yeah, that's where we're going to be next year. It worked out because we could trade. So Drew, I don't know if like your troop, like if the smaller troop got too many in that initial order, could the other troop, sweep those up in a transfer?
Yeah, I mean, and I definitely did a lot of trading back and forth between my two. Yeah. I ordered it all under one sometimes, and then I would transfer it to the other one. That way I wasn't trying to do two. But just even like you're looking, okay, I've got 20, all 20 of them sold. I've got 12, but I only got 10 going. And I know a lot of troops do that. And then half of my smaller troop were all new. So then those parents are unsure about where cookies were going in that aspect, that type of thing. So I didn't know if we really this year want to incentivize really also, communication, huge thing, but incentivizing a more of initial order, maybe looking at the number of girls selling or the troop level numbers on that too.
Yeah. Or lowering the per girl average, wouldn't that make it?
Yeah, I think we'd have to do, we can look at how we, lowering it, I don't know if that makes, so it's based off the the whole purpose of this incentive when it was created was to hit the per girl average that the council wanted to achieve. So we used to probably on our initial order, we were between 65 and 70% of our entire council order was on our initial order. And then the remaining 35 to 40%, whatever, 40-ish% was on our plan. Well, that is completely flipped now. So we're now only 40% on our plan, and we're about 60% on our 40% our initial and 60% on our plan. My concern is just having cookies throughout the program because, and we did see this happen this year, we lost momentum towards the last 3 weeks of the program because people weren't able to get cookies, and they just kind of got to the point where, we don't want them now because it's too late and it's not the variety we want. And so we really want those first 3 weeks. I think Reggie, you said that those are the hot weeks. I mean, that is when people they know the Girl Scout cookies are coming. They want them. They're really eager to have them, and you're not exhausted yet. By week 4, it's starting to become pretty exhausting. And so it's just, I am concerned about delivery issues. And so just thinking out of the box or thinking ways, and I hear you. I didn't even think about like the space issue for a troop leader. Like that's a lot of cookies. How do I get those? Where do I store them? How quickly do my troop leaders come pick them up? That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
That's a big deal.
And Kelly, if you wanted to, we could, you and I could meet and discuss a couple of different options for editing the troop bonus. And then I know last year we came back to the committee and just did a vote via email.
Yeah.
And so we could absolutely circle back to that. But I think all of you have provided some feedback that Kelly and I can consider. And then we'll meet in a few days, and then I'll turn it back around to you via email. We won't need to meet again, but I'll turn it around back to you and we can do a vote that way. We made a couple decisions that way last year. And that way, we can think about it, come up with a couple alternatives, and then have you guys help us make the selection then.
I do know that some councils have, they do an incentive, a girl incentive on the initial order. So if girls order, whatever, 200 boxes on the initial order, there are some councils that will give like an instant reward to girls that do that.
And that could be a patch or something like that, or something, some sort of reward, but that's something else to consider as well. So are we okay tabling this to vote at a later time? Is that all right with the committee? I'm seeing a couple people shake heads, thumbs up. Okay, perfect. We're going to shift gears while we're talking about incentives and rewards and things. And we do want to go ahead and take a look at some of the items that are available for our girls. So I thought what would be helpful is we'll go ahead, and I have a few slides of like $1 items, $2 items. We'll take a look at those things. This year, as far as the reward category, we're not looking at changing very many levels at all. I know last year we did a few changes of cookie dough and things. Really, the only thing that I would bring to the committee as a possible change is looking at adjusting the level in which girls earn the super seller distinction, as well as the level in which girls earn the Disney Trip or MacBook Pro. I know over the last couple of years we've adjusted that number, but as you'll see in the data, girls continue to hit that. And so I think we need to maybe move that goal just a little bit more. So hopefully we'll go through these items and we'll take a look at their pictures, but hopefully you can see them on the materials that I sent to you a little bit earlier as well. Let me just get back here. So we're going to go from like $1 through $8 items. So we have 3 different $1 items. The sticker sheet is 95 cents. The mood, always a favorite. I know some people are like, oh, I'm sick of that being a level reward. But then I have other people who are like, my girls are starting a collection and they want all the mood cups they can get. So that is always an option. That's $1.25. And when you see, as we're going through these, if you see the top 10 or the top 20, we do have girls who, we have a girl voting link where girls from our council can go in and vote for these rewards. 14 girls have gone in so far. And so this is based on their voting, what has ended up in the top 10 or the top 20. So that mood cup is very obviously a favorite. It was in the top 10 of the girl selection. And then the lanyard, again, is popular as well with girls for $1.55. That was in the top 20 for girl selection. Taking a look at $2 items, we have Magic Sand. We also have a drawstring bag that was in our top 20. And then the metallic sunglasses were also a strong favorite for girls. They were in the top 10, and those are $2.75 per pair. Looking at our $3 and $4 items, we do have a door hanger with marker. So it's a white erase board type door hanger for $3.25. And this mood I'm a little biased, but I think this sports bottle is really cool this year. It's It has the nice handle, and also this year it's mood changing as well. So it will change with whatever temperature liquid is put into it. And it's a 32-ounce water bottle, and girls voted that into the top 10 as well. Our $5 items, we have a wet dry bag with a window, so girls could stick their phone or a small tablet. I do want to note here that the phone is not included with the wet dry bag. And if that's something we will choose, I'll make sure to make that note, because I don't want anybody, well, the phone's pictured there. It's a wet dry bag, but again, girls voted this into the top 10. Top 20 is the Tell Your Story bead kit. So girls could get a bead kit to make bracelets or keychains. And also then the Dolphin clip-on plush is a $5 item, as well as the journal set, which was in our top 20 of girl voting as well. Our $5 items continued, so there's lots of $5 items to choose from. The ankle socks are popular again. I know we've had socks the last couple of years. The mini lantern flashlight was also in the top 20. And then the velvet headband is another $5 item that's available for us as well. And then last but not least, we have our $7 and $8 items. The Go Bright Ahead t-shirt that you see pictured here was in the top 10. Sizes youth small through extra large are $7.75, and then it does increase a bit if you go above adult 2XL. The Dolphin small plush is also an $8 item that was also in our top 10 of girl voting. And then the Cruiser bike bell is another $8 option. So there were items that I did not pull out of our reward catalog simply because they're too expensive to offer as a large mainstream item. But these are things that we can then use to look back and help us make our decisions then for 23. So while we're looking at those numbers, I wanted to bring over, and I want to make sure, can you guys see the Excel spreadsheet now? Okay, perfect. I wanted to make sure my sharing was working properly. So this is a recognition analysis that Reggie actually provided to me based on what ABC pulled from Smart Cookies, based on the girls we had participating, our levels, and our rewards at each level. So what I do like to see is it tells us how many girls stopped at this level and did not move on. It also shows how many girls did earn the level, so that can help us to make a few adjustments of things. You see here in the middle is our selections from last year, their prices, and then what we spent for those items as a total. So that's just something we can go back and forth to reference if we'd like. But the big thing we want to do is make sure we fill out this worksheet, as I call it. And this really is looking at, so on the left-hand side are our levels from last year. And then we'll make our decisions for the levels for 23 here and pick our rewards from the items that I showed you here, and make a reward plan for the upcoming year. So I think a lot of our levels will remain the same as far as, the gift card levels and things like that. But before we look at our items, I did want to see if we just wanted to chat about that super seller level, the 1,500 box, and then the 2,700 box level for the MacBook or the Disney trip. So each year we've moved that Disney target just a little bit higher, and each year we have the same amount of girls, if not more, earning the trip. And the trip, just like with everything else, is becoming more and more expensive. And so we really do want to make this something that is something that a girl really does have to strive for in order to earn. So if we look at the recognition analysis from 22, the 1,500 level, we had 30 girls who stopped at this level. But a total of 72 girls earned the super seller distinction. So that's about 1.5%, but then you see here the 2,700 box level on, we have 25 girls who earned either the Disney trip or the MacBook Pro. And so My recommendation after chatting a little bit with Kelly would be potentially to move that 1,500 box level. And Kelly, refresh my memory, what did we propose as a raise for that? Did we propose like 17 or 18?
We hadn't talked a ton about what that 1,500 would look like. We wanted to talk to this group, but
Yes.
the 2,700, so when we started the super seller, it was 2,500 boxes, and the trip was costing us about $1,700. Then we moved it to 27. Was it 2 years ago?
We actually moved it to 2650 2 years ago.
Okay.
And then 27 last year.
So then it was costing us about 1,800. The trip, I don't know that we had one trip that was under $2,100 this year.
No.
So, and Disney no longer used to have free transports now. They're not providing us with the packages that we are securing, and maybe they are with week-long packages and such, but they're not. So we're also paying for the transports because that was part of the agreement. And you know, we said what we would pay for. The prices have gone up drastically. I think they're going to continue to go up, is what we're being told by our travel agent. And so there are not many councils that are doing this trip under 3,500 boxes. I don't want to get to 3,500, but I think we're going to need to move it up to 3,000 boxes. The cost is really almost becoming prohibited at this point. It's just a lot.
And just to put things in perspective as far as like the levels, as far as what girls who hit that Disney trip are moving on. We have a few that's hit that 2,700 and stopped. And so really there were 4 girls of the 25 that hit 2,700 and stopped. The other 21 girls continued to sell. Sometimes it was just a few boxes, but we had one girl who went up to 4,394 boxes. And so I really think if we moved the goal, I think Kelly had referenced maybe moving it to 3,000 boxes, that would still give us 7 winners who would get either the Disney trip or the MacBook Pro. So again, it becomes, you know, and there are a couple girls who, if they stretched just a little bit, they would hit that goal easily. And so I really do think that it becomes more of, not elusive, but more of a, I don't even know what the right word, but a more reward. Yeah, it's a more rewarding reward because girls have pushed themselves to that 3,000, and it's a more selective group. It's not 20 some girls. But I did want to share with you that there would still be Girl Scouts who would hit that goal if we moved it to 3,000. Because I also don't want you thinking, oh, all right, they're going to move it to 3,000, so no one will hit that. No, we have girls who will very close to hitting that or went well above and beyond that as well. So I don't think it would be out of line necessarily to move that to 3,000 if you were interested in that. Is anyone opposed to changing it to 3,000? Okay. Kelly, if you're all right with it, I think our group has accepted that proposal. So with that being said, then do we need to look at adjusting the super seller level? Because if you're getting, you know, halfway to Disney, is that super seller? Do we bump it up a few hundred boxes? What are your opinions on the super seller level itself?
I think if we're bumping up Disney, we should bump up the super seller.
Okay. Now, do you think it needs to be by the same amount? So 300 boxes, or do you think we could move it 100 or 200 boxes? What is your suggestion?
Just up. I didn't have a number.
Okay.
Just
hey,
up.
no, that's fine. I mean, so right now, if they hit 1,500, they're a super seller. So you add 1,200 boxes and then they hit the Disney trip. So if we kind of used the same math, if we bumped that super seller level from 1,500 to 1,800, we would still have that 1,200 box gap. Again, it's still, you know, I will pull up the super seller spreadsheet again here and see how many of our girls hit 1,800. So still 49 of our 72 super sellers hit 1,800 or more. And so I really think that could be a doable change to raise that to 1,800, but I also am not going to do that without the approval of the committee.
I think it's an acceptable, you know, moving it up. I think, you know, we were talking about, if you know, this club, I think it's like the exclusive club for getting, you know, 7 kids to go to Disney.
Yes.
I think if, you know, we're having 72 girls hit that 1,500 and we need to, but, you know, a lot of them kept going at that point, you know, having that many still being able to make it, if we bumped it up to the 1,800, I think it's still a large amount out of that goal. And I think they still would probably still reach for it at that point, even if it's a couple hundred boxes more at this point.
I agree, Drew. And I think by bumping it up to, we can, I think the program itself needs a little revamping. It's gotten a little stale. I think we need to really make it a little bit super and, you know, really make the celebration of those girls a little bit bigger and do a little bit more to really raise them up and let them know they're in an elite club. And I think we can do that by raising those up too.
Absolutely.
So I will tell you one council, it was super cool. Reggie might know the council. Their super sellers got denim jackets that said super seller on the back of their jackets. They were so darn cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were really cool.
Would you, and just looking at, if you take that to 1,800, would you adjust the levels below that, the 1,000 to 1,099, 1,100 to 1,499? Maybe adjust those a little bit, because that's quite a big jump, you know, from, you know, 1,100 to 1,799. Does that make sense? Or, I mean,
oh, I see what you're saying.
So like go from 1,000 to 1,249, and then 1,250 to, you know, whatever. I mean, just something to think about that way too, is, you know, opening up that gap a little bit. You know, because you go from 1,800 to 3, you know, to the whatever it is in between there too. So that would be something to look at too. Just the level or 2 levels below the 1,800. So, okay, just a suggestion, just a thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those denim jackets were darling. So I think that was Missouri Heartland that did that.
They were really, really cute. So Kelly is adjusting the levels between those, something we need to discuss tonight? Or is that something that we can look at between you and I, and we can come back to the group and with a couple suggestions?
Yeah, I think we'll run the numbers on it, and then we can put together some suggestions and send it back out to this group and have them vote.
Okay, that sounds excellent. So we will circle back with you guys about a couple different things then, but I'm gonna go ahead and make those adjustments for the super seller to 1,800 and then the Disney trip or MacBook Pro to 3,000. But then we will give you a few options of plan A, B, or C of how to adjust the levels in between then. So do we want to go ahead and start looking at 23 and what of our items we are going to choose here? I do have to apologize if I sound different or I'm having any difficulties. I got notification my internet was extremely unstable. So I moved to right by the router and I'm hoping that helps. Apologize if anyone's having any difficulty hearing me.
Is there, just a question, since we don't, is there a possibility of seeing if we can get more girls to vote, letting them know that's on Facebook or
Yes.
it's on the website?
I agree, because 14's not very many.
Last year, I remember getting an email and I had my girls vote. I don't remember receiving that email this year.
Okay.
Okay.
I would suggest, just a suggestion, I would reach out and let everybody know the girl voting site is up.
Okay.
And, give them another opportunity. Say it's up till the end of the month,
Okay.
till July. You have till July to
Yeah.
vote. And because we're in the process of looking at making selections for this year. And if you want your voice to count or your vote to count, let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, because I feel bad picking off of 14 girls.
Yeah.
We've
I was-
usually had a lot more than that
Yes.
vote.
So is this something then, Kelly, would we want to reconvene in early August to meet with the group once we have some more votes to go over that? Or how would you like for me to handle that?
When is this due to Reggie?
We don't need an estimate till September.
Okay,
So
Okay.
We're good. We got plenty of time. So,
Perfect. Well, then maybe even too, while we're doing all of that, we could almost do our voting and stuff too when we reconvene and have a few options. But and partly too, I want to make sure it's 14 girls is not a great cross section of all of the 4,600 girls who participated last year.
Right.
So I do agree if the committee is okay trying to solicit more votes, what I will do is I'm going to reach out to our customer care team who handles the Salesforce Marketing Cloud emails tomorrow. And I will have them reach out and just shoot an email reminding girls and troops and parents that the girl voting link is live. And hopefully then by the end of the month, we'll have additional votes from there. Does that work for the committee?
And I think one thing too, you could do, when you're talking super sellers, those are the kind of the goal-getter girls, is maybe give them, their say as far as what they think they like for the recognition for the upcoming year, saying, hey, you have the opportunity to cast your vote or let us know what your thoughts are, and we'll honor your decision, just like I say, give them a choice too of saying, hey, you can be part of the decision of choosing the recognitions for the rewards for the following year. That's just a thought too. So.
Absolutely.
Is the link to vote, is that something that we could put the link on social media or something?
Sure.
Or is it?
Yeah, I would think so, that it would be a link that you can share it out. So as soon as you get that email, you can copy and paste it and share it out on Facebook. Yes.
Okay.
we should also check with Katrina, Emma, and see if she
Okay.
can put it on Facebook.
Okay, I will check with her tomorrow about that.
Yeah, just like they did when the girls chose the mascot for this year too, and next year too, is cast your vote. Let us know what you think.
Perfect. So I will get with our marketing team and we will get that shared out on our Facebook page. I'll also make sure an email goes out. I was composing an email to go out through Salesforce Marketing Cloud as it is, because I do want to encourage our troop leaders to encourage their girls to download their customer list from the 2022 cookie program from Smart Cookies before the end of the month, because then if they download that customer list from this year, then when they get access to Smart Cookies in late 22, early 23, they can just easily upload that entire list right back into Smart Cookies. So within that same email, I will also say, make sure your voice is heard, vote for, you know, the girl rewards for 2023. And so we'll get that communication sent out in the coming days then.
Great.
Perfect. So I am going to table this reward program for now. I want to review with you and just take a look at the fall product program as well, and just kind of give you a preview of what's going to be happening with that. But I will touch base with the group via email, probably set up a survey and offer a couple of different dates and times, and we'll go with what works for the majority then to schedule something in early August then. So let's see, let me get back to my PowerPoint here. All right, so taking a look at 22 fall product, remember it is the same theme. So the Go Bright Ahead theme will carry from fall product into cookies. So the fall product program will begin on September 23rd and it will close on October 17th. So again, it's that Go Bright Ahead theme, and it features the Hawaiian monk seal. So the girls will actually get to learn a little bit about the Hawaiian monk seal and the preservation efforts that are going into keeping them from going extinct. So there's our little mascot and our theme right there with Go Bright Ahead. I'm very happy to share with you that we will be increasing the troop proceeds for the 2022 fall product program. I am very excited to be able to debut this to our leaders. Our representative from Ashton Farms and their company actually did an analysis on all the councils and where they're at with their troop profit. And so we are getting up into the competitive world of that and raising our troop proceeds as well. So this should make it a more worthwhile venture for troops to participate. I know sometimes when we're encouraging the fall product sale, people are like, oh, you know, it's a small sale. This could help increase those sales, and it's always good to start off on the fall product program just to get your bank account some juice to go for the year. So this year, a troop will actually earn $1.25 per nut and candy item. That was formerly $1 per item. And this year, girls and troops will earn $3 per magazine subscription, which was increased from $2.50 per magazine from years prior. So I am very excited about this, and I hope again that more troops will take advantage of our fall product program, given that they're, you know, make a little bit more profit from that. So very, very exciting. Some good news finally. It's always good to be able to give some good news. I do want to let you know that the caramel treasures will no longer be offered in a tin. So the chocolate covered pretzel item will actually be replacing the caramel treasures in that tin, and we will be offering the chocolate covered pretzels this year. I did want to let you know that there was a slight price increase on a few of the items. So our tin items, so that would be the chocolate covered pretzels, the mint treasures, and I believe the deluxe pecan clusters. Those are going to be $12 per tin. That they were $10. Again, what we're hearing from Ashton Farms is that the price of tin has skyrocketed. And so in order to be able to produce said tins, they needed to offset the cost of producing them just a little bit. So that will impact the tins. And then the English butter toffee has gone up $1. It was $8 in years prior, and this year the English butter toffee will be $9. But typically the small price increases really don't impact or dissuade our customers much at all. So I wanted to let you know about that. But again, in today's world, unfortunately, everything is going up in cost. And so some of our things are just following suit. So I wanted to go over really quick with you just what our fall product reward program will look like. If a girl sells 25 or more combined items, so that's nuts, candy, and magazines, she'll earn the 2022 theme patch. For 35 or more combined items, she earns the seal keychain. At 40 or more combined items, she'll get this really cute small seal plush. I really just want to cuddle it. It looks very soft and cute. For 55 or more items, a girl could choose the seal charm and bracelet, or $5 in Nutty Bucks. At 70 or more items, the girl could choose between color changing sunglasses. So they go from blue to green. I'm not sure if that's in the sun or a certain temperature, but somehow they change colors, or $8 in Nutty Bucks. And then for 85 or more combined items, she can earn the seal journal, or $10 in Nutty Bucks. At 100 or more items, the girl will earn the large seal plush. Again, you'll notice, just like last year, there is a difference between the small and the large plush, so that way girls feel enticed to try to earn both. A girl will also earn the 100 plus club patch, or she could choose $12 in Nutty Bucks. 125 or more combined items is the Go Bright Ahead t-shirt, or $14 in Nutty Bucks. 150 or more items, a girl will earn LED strip lights, or $16 in Nutty Bucks. 200 or more combined items is a beach towel. It's this Go Bright Ahead beach towel, or $50 in Nutty Bucks. 250 or more combined items, a girl will earn the Bluetooth earbuds, or she could choose $150 in Nutty Bucks. We have a few other patches that girls can earn. So if she sells 3 or more magazines, she earns the Go Bright Ahead patch. And if she sells 12 or more nut and candy items, she will earn the 2022 patch. If she sends 18 or more emails from the M2 system, she will earn the Swimming Seal patch. And you'll see how all 3 of those come together here in just a minute. And then this really cute pineapple Care to Share patch is for a girl who solicits 5 or more Adopt a Soldier donations. So as I mentioned, this year again, the patches are interlocking. I really like this concept, but again, if a girl doesn't earn all 3, it also doesn't look strange if she doesn't have all 3, but I really like how all 3 kind of interact to make the set work. So this is what those interlocking patches look like. So a girl can also earn a personalized patch, and in order to do that, she does need to log into M2 and create her avatar, because that will show up on her patch. She does need to sell $300 in total sales, so that is a combination between both nut and candies and magazines. She does need to send 18 or more emails, again, from the M2 system to her customers. And this year we have added a share requirement to the personalized patch. So in order to earn that, she has to do all 3 of those things, plus use the Share My Site button from M2 to then share it to a social media page or to a text message or an email. So as long as she does that, then she will earn the personalized patch for 2022. And you see the 2 different options that a girl could choose between: surfboard or some scuba gear, but again, mixing that Go Bright Ahead and the monk seal as well. Troop leaders can also earn a personalized patch. I know that's really kind of a fun part of the sale. So troop leaders need to create an avatar. Their troop needs to have $1,300 in total sales. Again, that can be any combination of nut, candy, and magazine items. And then we do have a parent guardian email blast requirement this year. So in order for a troop leader to earn her personalized patch, they need to use the parent guardian email blast. It's very simple to do from the M2 site. And that will then send an email directly from the leader to their girls, inviting them to participate in the system. And so as long as a leader does those 3 things, then he or she will earn their personalized patch, again, with scuba gear or a surfboard. So I know we have a few things that we are going to table, and we'll meet back together in early August, but I wanted to touch base and see if anyone had any outstanding questions or comments, and then otherwise I can give you a 10 minutes or so back in your evening that we had previously scheduled to take up. So does anyone have any questions or comments? And otherwise, I will follow up tomorrow with an email to you with a survey about setting up a future date and just kind of following up with some of the things we discussed this evening.
Emma, could we go ahead and set a date with at least the people that are on the phone and see what works best
Yes.
with all of us? And then we can just
Yes.
send out to the rest of the committee, this is when we're going to meet.
I think that sounds great. Let me really quick, since I moved my computer to the router, let me go grab my planner just so I'm not double booking myself, and I will be right back. Righty, thank you for your patience. So let's take a look here. Oh wow, August starts nice and easy on a Monday, August 1st. So let's see. I don't know if there's a time during August 1st through the 5th that would work for you, or maybe 8th through the 12th. But I would like to do it in that first couple weeks just so we have wiggle room for any other decisions or things to make.
So the first week of August, Emma, will not work for me. Our
Okay.
long-range property plan consultants will be here that entire week.
Okay. So let's look then at the 8th through the 12th. Is there a day in that week that works better? Do we want to avoid Mondays, Wednesdays? Are there any days of the week we need to avoid?
The Thursday of that week is the State Fair Parade.
Okay, good. That's good to know. What if we looked at, again, just doing it on a Tuesday evening like tonight and do another 6 to 7:30, 6 to 8 kind of time period on the 9th? Would that work for the committee? Okay, cool. Then we will plan on that. And again, if something comes up and you can't make it, I know I've had a few of our committee members who couldn't join us this evening. I will be sharing this recording with them so they can see what we've already discussed so far. But I would love to see all of you there, and I will get an invitation sent out to you for August 9th starting at 6 p.m. then to go through the girl voting results and make some decisions on the 23 cookie program rewards then.
I do have one question.
Yes.
The personalized patches from the cookie program, have those gone out yet? Because I don't think we've received any of ours.
We don't have a personalized patch program for the cookie program, but we do for fall product. Last year, the 21 fall product personalized patches should have arrived to you.
On Smart Cookie last year, it said if you did so many combined, you got a personalized cookie patch.
I was not aware of that.
It was like you had to sell 150 boxes or 300 boxes and earn the personalized patch back in fall. And it was also on the fall program last year too, on our handouts.
I know a couple years ago we had tried to do a crossover patch thing between fall product and cookies. But to my knowledge, Heather, I'll have to look into that and I will get back to you. Does that work okay for you?
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions?
I just had one question. I know this year, a lot of the supplies were sent to us that we could dole out, but the order cards were sent to the council to bring to those cookie pickups for the initial orders.
Yes.
Is for when my troops came to pick it up, the council member only had may be enough to cover 50% of the troops.
Okay.
I didn't know if there was a way that we could get those resent back to us, or if we could up that number, because I had to really go through and ask, how many do you actually need? And then I was going through by just girls that were selling. And then I had to go through and send those people a link and say, hey, here's where you could print this link off. But then the cupboard didn't have any for a couple of weeks either. So I wasn't know if that was just a printing issue, or if that was, they didn't order enough on the Peoria side. I wasn't quite sure where that was, but I definitely know that I could only fill girls selling for about 50% of the troops, that for 50% of people that were picking up their initial order.
Absolutely. And Kelly, if you recall, the order cards had become an issue, and what we had discovered was somewhere in our planning phase, we had provided a document that had how many we wanted sent to each area, and that was misplaced and not provided to the company. So then we were scrambling at the back end to get order cards back to everyone. So I fully anticipate, Drew, that will not be a problem for the 23 program, because between Reggie, Kelly, and myself, we will work to make sure that the correct amount, so that there isn't any here print off this link kind of thing, and everybody will get an order card. So I fully anticipate that will not be a problem this year.
Awesome. Thank you, Emma.
So let me ask you, Drew, would you, we've done the combination with this paperwork. What would you prefer? Would you prefer that it all comes to you? Like, what would be your preference?
So I've done this a couple of years, and this was the first year where it went to the council. And I had a lot of, so I do 31, and the encompasses not just Peoria. I mean, we're talking Chillicothe and
Right.
outside. And so they don't go to the service, to the cupboard a lot. And so they were looking to me to give them those. And I'm not sure what everybody else does, but when it comes to those initial pickup, I have packets ready to go. So I have all the information in each packet as far as, the money envelope, and I print out, how many girls are selling, and I give a packet to each person that it's coming for their troop for their initial order. And so they were looking for those, and I have to be like, I'm sorry, I don't have them. And they may not be going, for a couple of weeks to go pick those up. So I think for my service unit, they would have preferred that I had them to me, and I don't mind getting them. I know I like putting the packets together, and I literally put the packets together, and I still bring all the extra stuff
Same here.
with me. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I need a couple extra of this, or can I get a couple extra of this? And I'm like, sure, I have it. And then at the end of my troop initial order pickup, I give all of my materials back to cupboard, so then they have it there as well. But I know that a lot of them were looking for, they didn't think that I know, Emma explaining how the issue happened this last year, but I think having them would be better, because they're not going to the council as often for my outreach ones, because it could be, and for me, even to get to the cupboard, it's a 20-minute drive. And then you're talking, outside of the Peoria area, and you're 30 to 45 minutes. And so they could only make one trip. And so it could be a week or so for some, or 2 weeks for some of them to get these order cards. I printed them off for my troop and handed them out, so I wasn't getting any of the hand ones. But I think having them in hand was better, because to have them ready to go.
And we can absolutely make sure that the order cards go to the service unit coordinators rather than council. While we're talking about this, I wanted to make sure too, last year we had tried something new. We had each region kind of come together, and they put together a troop mailing to each troop with a number of parent agreements, parent permission forms, a troop coordinator agreement, troop guide, an OSB form, a couple other things. Do you think that that was worthwhile to send all of that out to troops and then they just get the order cards from you? Or do you think, kind of Drew, like what you were talking about, putting together your own packets is more worthwhile?
Personally, for me, I know that our unit said if you could come get it, come get it. Otherwise, by a certain date, if you didn't, they would mail it out.
Okay.
But they didn't have those order cards to mail out. And so that, I think half of that was the issue. And I think a lot of people were just used to getting everything at the cookie pickup.
Okay.
That some of the troop leaders, the troop leaders would have it, but they not necessarily also are the cookie people. So that trying to get to the troop leader, or which troop leader do you want it to go to, and then them necessarily getting it to the cookie person. I think that was a little bit, I know it probably saved on some resources. But like for us, it was a lot of, hey, I got my packet, but hey, do you have any more of these? Do you have some extra of this? Do you have any more of these? And I'm like, yeah, sure, here you go. I have it all laid out. Grab what you need, what I have left over. So even getting those troop packets, they were still asking, did I have any extras of practically everything?
Okay.
Yeah, and I use the order card for training too, because like to train the troops, the girls, they have everything on there that you need to teach them. And then for them to get it when the sale starts feels too late, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So getting it before the sale goes live online would be really good, like a lot sooner before, because we would get them around December. December gets wonky with meetings schedules because of the holidays and school being out. So it's hard. Like you almost have to have them, in my opinion, at the beginning of December to give your girls, if that email is going to go out that soon, you know what I mean? Like to go ahead and register and get started.
Well, and part of that too was a setting that I didn't know I needed to check. And so as soon as I uploaded the girls, they were launched. And so that won't happen. Like when we train and we say girls will be getting their emails on X date, that is for sure the days that they will be getting the email this year, not earlier. And I know that kind of threw a wrench in things last year as well. And it shocked me when that happened. And so that will not happen this next year.
Okay. So we can teach the girls in January about cookies and that kind of thing, and kind of do our cookie things and give out the packets. Does that sound like a more manageable? It wouldn't be December then. It would be January, right?
Right. And I think some people would want them in December, and that way they can get it out to people and be done. People want to hold on to it. So I think maybe we might need to.
When do we usually mail it out?
So usually, Reggie, help me remember, when did we have our training kits ordered for?
Oh, geez.
Sorry, Reggie. I can't.
Because I think that's a good question for this group. I mean, as far as, well, for Reggie too, when is the earliest time frame we could have them, and when do you guys want them?
Right.
Let's see.
I personally would want them by January, like the first week of January, just because I can make my packets that first week of January, because I do packets too. And then we're getting back together maybe like the second week of January after a holiday break with meeting with our girls. Does that sound like a time frame? I don't know if it would be better sooner. Some people cover cookies in December.
A lot of people do.
You know what I mean? Like in their
A lot of coordinators train in December.
So like
in Bloomington, I feel like we've always gotten that pre-COVID. We got the years that I did it, we got them in December.
Yeah.
Because in pre-COVID,
I like having it early so I could think about what I needed to do on my end without rushing through it.
And I think that really is just going to be a troop by troop preference. I mean, some people would rather have December for the holidays, and some people would, like started. And so I do think.
But if we get them in December, then you as a leader can make a choice.
Yes.
When you want to do it. But if we wait and you don't get it till January, then you don't have that option.
Yeah, like if I can't give girls order cards until cookie pickup, right before we start the sale, like I know that we use them to do the orders in person, but I mean, some of that stuff is online already. And so, and then
I think there was a philosophy for a long time, like, oh, we can't give out the order cards until they pick up because girls are going to be selling early. Well, we asked people not to go out and sell early. Now you can sell online early. I mean, I'm not saying it's not important. It's just, we have to trust people, we have to explain to them, to be fair and to work within the guidelines. But, and I always say this, at some point we all can't be, to a degree, policing everybody. And you're right, Jennifer, a lot of that stuff's online. So if they want to create, which is what some troops, unfortunately, were doing anyway, creating their own ahead of time online with the online resources. So.
Yeah, because I think, didn't we decide on starting online sales December 12th? Is that what we talked about? Online marketing would start December 12th this year?
The online marketing would start in December.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would mean that direct ship and girl delivered orders could begin being solicited in December. Then into the house.
I mean, we can ship out the materials however you want, when you want them. I mean, that's not a problem. I mean, we could ship the order cards to the service unit cookie, the coordinators, service area coordinators. We could, ship them wherever, but like if Jennifer, the way and Drew, the way they're talking, I mean, we could get the order cards to them in November, beginning of December, if they want to have them then. And with all the other materials, the coin envelope, troop distribution sheets, all of that could be shipped to you. So, I mean, that's your preference and how you want to do that. So, it's just letting, our William George know what service unit gets what for how many girls and how many troops. And we can pack a training kit too that will have every piece of material in there that, Jennifer could use for her trainings if she wanted to. So, I mean, we talked about, we just wanted to know, when trainings were and if they wanted to get that materials before the trainings, we can do that. That's not a big deal. I mean, it's just a timing piece.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that would be good to have the printed stuff early so that we can get it handed out by the time families actually need it.
Right. And if you don't want to get started when the paperwork arrives in December, you can absolutely hold to that for your troop or your service unit until January if you prefer, but you at least have the materials for whenever you're ready. So absolutely.
Yeah, I have a lot of troops, they use that initial order on the bottom with that permission form. They, depending on your school district, Peoria and, we have Peoria and Dunlap school districts, they've got 3 weeks now break and some have 2. And so, and if we're going to be doing it and we need those permission slip signs, if we're starting December 12th, they want those out and signed. They can start those online. And so they're always asking, hey, do you got them yet? Hey, do you got them yet? We make the packets. And then, like I said, all the extra stuff I still bring to the initial pickup anyways. And then, so they can always get extra from there. But I think it's always been chomping, hey, when can I get it so I can make sure that I have what I need and get everything out?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can make that happen. Not a problem.
That might, getting it a little bit early, just thinking off the top of my head, it might help with the initial orders as well. If we get all that information out, we get the training out a little bit earlier, then we can say, hey, this also means that you need to really look at these orders. I know my troops, I get those permission slips out in December and they're back to me before the holiday break because they get to put wherever, you know, and then I need it there. Do I know that they probably go talk to all their family over the holidays and say, hey, what you thinking? And so that plays into their initial order too. And so a lot of that has that out there. We can make sure that we have it. So I do think having it out there to everybody so they can have it before the holidays would help. And then that might bump up initial orders too, getting all that training out ahead of time.
Absolutely. I think it's domino effect. I think that could be good. So we are a little bit past our 8 o'clock end time, and I don't want to keep anybody too late. I do want to make sure that everyone knows I will follow up with you tomorrow. I'll have a YouTube link to this recording so that you can review tonight's meeting over again. I will also follow up with some of our touch points, as well as an invitation then for August 9th to meet again and go over our girl voting results. And so then in the meantime, I'll work with our customer care team to get an email to our troop leaders and girls, encouraging them to vote and also to download their customer lists prior to the end of the month. So that's kind of my action items for now. And again, I really appreciate your guys' time being on tonight. Again, I apologize for going a little bit over time, but I think you guys had a great, worthwhile conversation and really helped to point us in the right direction. So hopefully you feel like it was time well spent, because I definitely do. And so if there are no other questions, I am happy to give you the rest of your evening back, and I look forward to via email, as well as then meeting with you on the 9th to discuss more and do some voting then.
We appreciate you, Emma. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. You guys really, I know, spoke with each and every one of you at different times during the sale, and I really do appreciate your grace with me, as it was a heck of a first year as director. What a year to cut my teeth on. Absolutely, though, without your guys' support, your knowledge, and just the backup that you helped to provide me, it really meant a lot. And so I really appreciate all of you volunteers for everything that you do. So you kept a girl sane, and I appreciate that, because I might be in a straitjacket otherwise. So I just appreciate all of your help, and I look forward to meeting with you again in about a month.
Great.
Sounds good, Emma. You make it easy. You really do.
I appreciate it. You make it easy as well. So,
Well, a high five to you, Emma, for dealing with all the things you dealt with last year.
hey, you guys had to deal with it just as much as I did, and thank you guys all for coming back, still being willing to help out. So
absolutely. And it was a rough year, but I always try and remind Emma what an awesome sale we had, because our Girl Scouts sold, they sold 20,000+ more cases of cookies than they did the year before. They really did a fabulous job.
That's
fabulous.
True. It gets lost in all the chaos.
It does.
Tremendous sale. And that's attributed to you as the volunteers, making sure that your troop leaders, your Girl Scouts, your parents have all the information. So we really couldn't do it without you.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks, Emma.
No problem.